What's
Hey.
up? I'm dead inside. Also,
Listen, we're all a mess today.
Yeah.
I am the product of being up until 3 a.m. making gifts while watching the premiere again. So, pardon the fact that I'm destroyed, and I'm probably just going to screen share the episode if it will download. Come on, 4 minutes. Can I download and stream at the same time? Yeah, how about that?
Hello!
There's
Oh my
little
God.
Sana.
We had to give it Dutchling at the last minute. I'm shocked.
Oh, seriously? Whoa.
Guys, almost a full house.
Timing.
The train is here, guys. Everybody's here.
Batteries in the village.
Son of my heart, you look adorable.
Yo,
Well, is Becks here? Oh yeah, good point. They're together, and I love it.
Novely adapted batteries. What was your favorite part of the episode this week? I'm like trying to ask everyone. I'm trying to ask everyone who's watching. I am dead. Let's not talk about it.
Hi
Oh,
guys, we're in
man.
the same room.
Hi.
Oh yes,
So beautiful.
fantastic turn of events. We have Becks and Sanne. It's the best thing in the world. Oh, why did I say Sanne?
I was gonna say.
Oh my God, guys! Guys, I'm so.
Good morning.
I almost
Adapted underscore battery said, gosh, I don't know, like all of it.
Oh, bye, Kelly.
Well, you can hop out for when we start talking about 2 if you want, Felix.
Hi,
No,
bye,
it's okay.
Kelly. Hi and bye at the same time.
Yeah. I'm
the
in
one
that
time Kelly
situation-
won't be here. It'll be weird.
Yeah, I'm in that situation where
Aw,
I watched the show with my family and then we haven't watched the second episode, so I'm going off of stuff I know rather than what I've actually seen because I haven't actually seen it.
yeah, no,
But-
that's fine.
We'll get there.
All right. So, we might as well start talking about it. How about that, Nicole?
We're
Yes.
Okay.
Oh
How about we
boy.
just let's raise our hands as to who's gay for Nicole Noon. Yeah.
I froze. What was the question? Is it who's gay?
Majority.
We already know you're gay for Nicole Noon, Maggie.
You don't even need to raise your hand.
Oh yeah, Rachel Nicole knows the gay for Nicole.
Dude.
Okay, trying to download these at the same time just fucked up my stream. I canceled
Like,
that.
okay, so just the whole fact that Nicole Noon is back is like, oh boy.
Okay, what do you guys?
That's up a whole other thing.
I think I was skeptical at first because I was like, doesn't look like her face I guess kind of looks the same, but the hair was so iconic for Nicole. She had curly hair, I guess,
Yeah.
and Rachel has such straight hair, and that's what stuck out to me the most. But I was like, it's just hair. She'll probably be good, and she is good. Like acting wise, I like her better than I ever liked Sonia. No offense to Sonia, she was iconic, obviously, but I definitely like Rachel Nichols a lot.
I agree.
As
Yeah.
Because I saw a lot of people complaining about how she's not my Nicole, and I was like,
Shut up.
She's still
Get a
I mean, mine are
Stop.
every day of the week.
She's
the thing is, like,
she's
if-
500 years older now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
on a literal
She's
level,
500.
why did they
she's an
decide to do
entirely
that?
new character.
Because they could have like easily kept the same actress and just been like, yeah, it took me a while to like actually get the artifact or something like that. So interesting.
And the thing is, with
No, but
how
Sonia,
it's set up
the reason why
now,
they couldn't get Sonia.
Reason for not getting her?
Sorry.
oh,
Yeah, she was doing the show. Which one was it?
With the cats, it's already canceled.
Yeah.
So.
It was, the show was
That kinda
cancelled, but while
sucks.
they
Oh
were
my God.
doing the show, while they were doing the show, she couldn't be on it. Yeah.
oh, okay, that makes sense actually.
like how when they wanted to have Amy Myers back, but Beck's Taylor Claus was busy. They were like,
Yeah.
and that's where
Oh, yeah,
Lucy
that is-
Lyon was born.
We're supposed
But
to get
I love her.
Consistently busy with like I don't know if she's still in Arrow, but she does Voltron, Pidge of Voltron, and is in the series Scream and a couple other things at this point. So she's pretty busy
Scream
these
fell
days.
through. I don't think she's on Scream anymore.
No, the characters are different actors for the next season of Scream. So.
That sounds
Oh
dumb.
boy.
Good luck,
What's
Scream.
happening to
Yeah,
me?
Like all of them? Okay. That's different.
Season
That's a
1 to
different
a
case.
show ending.
Oh god.
Anyways,
I like how we talk
back on
bad
to
about a show
topic.
we've never seen. We're just like, ha!
I've seen it.
Hello, we have
Rehearsal.
wedding.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Can you see it? I don't know what's going on. There it goes. Okay.
Nobody
Computer
believes that
really
since
slow
it's,
right Also, we
sad
have a
that
new
they didn't depict Nicole as really evil.
We have
Name?
Zena in the chat. Hello. Thank you
Hi.
for joining us. You're a new person. We appreciate
No.
that.
I can't see the chat. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I'm on
I'm
mobile.
the one keeping track of the chat.
Nova Lee is just glad that they didn't depict her as purely evil. She has her reasons. I agree. Like, I'm actually Team Nicole.
Yes.
Like, in fact, like, Cassandra was totally being an asshole this season. I'm just gonna say that. She's being an asshole. She's being a biased. Like,
I kind of get why she thinks that way.
but it's kind of
Because-
hypocritical for her, of all people, to say that after
Oh, it is
everything
very-
he did.
I will admit that, but I understand her
Like-
reasoning. Because, like, we don't really know exactly what Nicole's doing. Still.
But also, she
No.
is like Lindy herself even said it's about Jenkins more than it's about Nicole. She's taking
Oh, yeah.
Jenkins' side. She's super biased, and she's even being like she's being mean about it too. Like Jake, like Ezekiel in that scene when they were at Niagara Falls, was being super calm and was just thinking it over and talking about it, and she's just flipping out, you know, more than she ever does. So she's super biased.
Exactly. Oh my god.
And I was like, can you shut up for once? Like, I've never felt that before. I was like, can you stop talking? So it's interesting to see them disagree on Nicole, because it's such a divisive issue. Like, what the heck, Jenkins? What? I still love Jenkins, but what?
So,
Yeah, there's like.
Can
the
I put this
picture
on a
brought
little
up a lot of.
for a second? I'm just gonna. I just was looking through Twitter and someone tweeted me. It was Ashley, the
What?
girl who made Cards Against the Librarians.
Cards Against the
I
Librarians.
had a dream. I was watching Maggie work on a film with John Harlan Kim, and one of her actresses quit. So John asked if he could try on the wardrobe and play both his characters, and that of the missing actress. Oh no, both his character
Oh.
and that of the missing actress.
Yeah, I can totally see that happening. Yeah.
Okay,
I've seen
but
her
did you?
makeup now, so-
But did you sleep well last night? Because you know what they say when people have dreams about you like that. I'm glad we're all dreaming about each other at this point. That's cool. Like, y'all have been in my dreams a few times, but definitely not as main characters. No offense.
Wait, dream? Why didn't you ever tell me about that?
Yeah, for real.
I remember every dream. I don't have time to talk about them all.
Same.
Okay, Nova just mentioned this. She said, I think Ezekiel is hesitant to judge her based on a few facts given because he's a thief and people tend to judge him based on that. So he can relate to her in that way.
Oh yeah, like Ezekiel seems to like be the most neutral. Like he seems to understand. He seems to understand where Jenkins is coming from, but he's just in the library. But he's just suspicious because it's messed up, and he sees where Nicole's coming from. Whereas Jake and Cassandra, as usual, seem to be totally on the opposite sides about it and freak out way more than him. But it's weird to me this season that Jake's the one who's like, we should give her the benefit of the doubt. You're being a jerk. Because
Yeah,
since Cassandra's the one who betrayed them, and Jake didn't forgive her for that, and now he's changed so much to where he's like, yeah, we've been betrayed multiple times by this chick, but I think we should hear her out. And I feel like Cassandra might be pissed off about that.
Oh yeah, too.
She's mad about it.
Well, maybe
She's like, "Are you
Jake's
kidding
just in
me?"
love with her.
Oh yeah, might be nerding out a little bit ending her, because in case you watched last stream or you know me at all, They've been like a weird, rare pair of mine since before we even knew Nicole was coming back. Because I would just go through every character in the universe and I'd be like, what would happen if these two met? You know what I mean? And now it's happened. And I'm excited.
That Ezekiel has often seen the most morally grounded, which is actually a bit funny and ironic because he's considered like the thief, and usually thieves are associated with not really having very strict morals, but we know Ezekiel as having very good morals. He just kind of hides them until it's really important.
He doesn't really hide them. It's just like not something that he talks about, which is interesting.
Yeah. Unless it's like of relevance, he doesn't really...
I know something like really interesting about him this season is I feel like he's sort of sympathizing with the villains more so far, and like more than he usually does, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like I know he was, I don't even want to say, he was pretty neutral about Nicole. I feel like he was also like, we need to doubt the library, but he was also like, we don't know exactly what's going on with Nicole right now.
Yeah.
But when Lady Luck or Fortuna, he was like, yeah, I feel sorry for her. And I feel like we're going to get him feeling
I think
a lot
he's
worse than most of our villains. At least the
Don't
day-to-day.
fear
I
the
feel like-
villain, fear the hero.
Ezekiel is one of those characters that, unlike Jake and Cassandra, which have very strict morals, like where they're usually butting heads a lot on different seasons and different situations, Ezekiel is kind of one of those people that likes to see the big picture. So he can see both sides more easily than the others, which I think is a good balance between Cassandra and Jake, because he's more the neutral zone and then they're kind of on opposite sides.
And as far as the institution thing goes, we know that he's already been in an institution. He was in MI6 and he didn't seem happy about it. And he doesn't seem happy with government and stuff. And so that always seems like he's got a lot of bitterness already with authority figures, even more when he tried to become one. So that's interesting that now he's finding out that the one institution he thought he could trust is now doing stuff that obviously makes him upset, because we know he doesn't like putting people in cages. He doesn't like doing things, you know, controlling people without their consent and stuff like that. It's always been a trigger point with him. So I can see where Maggie's
That also
going.
just brings up an interesting question.
Yeah, I can see
because
where Maggie's going too.
I want
they're just talking about the library and
talk about
how...
Wheel of Fortune.
I was just about to say, why do they put him next to Lightning again?
I was leaning towards our whole magical Ezekiel theory.
Yeah, because I'm like, are they?
It's Ezekiel with lightning again.
I have a
Okay,
thought about this moment.
Stop fucking me.
And he even said, why am I the one doing this?
Yes,
love
that
those.
line is what I'm thinking about right now. Is because he was so willing to sacrifice himself before, this line is kind of out of place for him. It almost seems forced.
What, then why am I the one bloody doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
He
That's why I was
would
like, no, they
automatically
did
been
that
like,
on
oh yeah,
purpose.
sure. Like,
Yeah, that seems the way that line
pretending.
was delivered or whatever. It kind of seems, seemed meta or whatever, especially since based on the Facebook Live right before, where Lindy was like, we fight for stuff, you know, based on all of your online comments. And so, you know, that got a lot of people thinking about what they know that they've said to people I've seen and what that might have as an impact. And we definitely talk about that theory a lot. And it's become a thing. And I know that at least Dean has seen it because he's been on the Lights of the Round Table. And we talk about it a lot and he watches it.
John's
so.
seen it too because he's retweeted things about it.
Oh, yeah.
John's on board with the theory now. I love it.
We should save
And he didn't
talking about that until.
Yeah, we'll save it for Seal of Fortune, but I thought of that. And I'm like, Ezekiel with lightning. What's up?
Yeah, the line seemed more like it was a call out to us. Like, why is he doing this all the time? Yes, Evelyn, that's the best moment, the best Fleeve moment in history.
Oh, it's so cute.
Fleeve.
That hug is everything.
I love that scene. Oh my god! And the fact that Nicole herself said that they're a good team.
Yeah, like she could see it.
Yeah.
Okay, but who else is like OT3 gunning with me on this? Like, I don't see a lot of anybody else. I'm raise our hands high.
And John Rogers isn't even working in the season anymore.
Can I raise both?
Now we got 2 OT3s and 0 John Rogers.
That's the nature of the show. It's for the fans, so they were like, well, oh my gosh, don't even get me started on like Daring the Dare is going to show up because him and Flynn look like another Flynn. Him and Flynn looks like what would have happened if Moriarty had really been Sherlock. That's what it looked like to me.
Yes,
Anybody else
exactly.
notice that? He had the same
Moriarty
reaction.
and Sherlock, that would
Definitely.
They're finally gonna give us like Flynn being a little gay. They're finally gonna give it to us.
A little.
A little, yeah. Like he's always been.
Yeah.
You know, with this, like the first episode, it does bring up some interesting points about the library because we know that the library is a sentient being, and therefore, because it is sentient, it is capable of making mistakes,
I want Ray
and
to
it
appear
brings up
again.
a whole new like.
I love you so much.
I
Holy
need them
shit.
to grill Ray. Like, what are you doing? What's going on? What's happening? Why are you doing this?
What are you doing in your life? Look at your choices. Now I want to make a meme.
You know, you guys want to talk about the whole Nicole origin story at this point as to
Oh my god.
why
Yeah.
My heart.
in that whole scene? Because I actually skipped it on my rewatch because I didn't want to cry.
Oh man, she
I
was so mean to
cried. Oh my
Flynn,
God, I
man.
cried for them.
Yeah, like
At this point, she knew that he did not know that she was still alive. He didn't, if he knew, he said he would try to go save her if he knew, and he didn't. And she still tried to bait the fact that he thought that he had killed her this whole time, which still f's me up.
Yep.
And she knew that already, but she baited it out of him and made him so upset about it. And she claims to still love him.
He probably just wanted to hear it.
I know, but
yeah.
I'm just
Because I don't think
She's
he
probably
really,
slightly
I
pissed
heard he
about
was
that.
like, I have a suspicion something like this happened, and I think like her worst fear was probably that he did it on purpose. But it was obviously an accident.
clearly did not.
That's why she was being
Isolated,
She
you can
couldn't say
imagine.
it was an accident.
She might have my insecurities going through everyday life. I think everybody hates me or like might want me. Like I'm already like she totally could have at one point, I don't know, 300 years been like maybe he killed me on purpose. It's not completely out there, right? Like it was a long time ago to her, so but it was a big thing. So I can see how she might want answers, but she did like manipulate it out of him. She really wanted him to suffer. She was like, "You need to tell me."
Yeah. It was
the thing is, what's interesting about that is the fact that Flynn has developed so much since in those like past 10 years he's been a librarian, plus how many said or so years have passed since then with the Lits, and now they're librarians and his guardian. So it's like, he's held that guilt for so long, and it's like he's a different person just as Nicole is too.
Nicole had 500 years instead of 10.
I watched this
Yeah.
the first time through, and then I watched it again when my girlfriend came over immediately after because she kind of showed up late, and we rewatched it. And she like turned to me and she was like, "Wow, no wonder he's not like he was in the movies." Because she went watching the first movie to. She was like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "That's what happened." And worse, like poor Flynn. He really did have a hard time, and I feel like Eve totally got that vibe, even if she didn't know the intense steps of it. But the minute she met him, she was like, "This guy's messed up."
Oh yeah, definitely. And the thing is that she's pretty in tune to him at this point with his moods and everything, really, because she knows a lot more about him and his behavior than she used to. So like issues going on before she knew what Nicole was doing, she picked up on very quickly. I feel like that's important to them.
Speaking of which, I'm so glad that they didn't go into a love triangle.
Oh my god, I could
Oh
talk
god,
about that for centuries, and like even Dean knows now because he saw my like rant tweets. Like they could have so easily gone into some cheesy fucking like romantic love triangle.
I love
and
it.
They didn't. Purposely,
Well,
they had her try to bait him even, and was like, "Yeah, you know." Like he totally threw it off and literally told Eve at the end of the episode, like, no, I love you. I don't have any feelings for Nicole. They didn't even try.
Yes.
They just used, like, comedic tension for that little bit while they...
Like, it used the realistic awkwardness. Like, the situation is so realistic. Yeah. He's like, I don't romantically love you anymore, but I do really care about you, and and there's a lot of emotional weight because all this guilt and all of this, you know, responsibility and confusion. And I did used to love you, and that's a big deal, even if I just still don't. Like, that's stuff that other shows just, I feel like they're not smart enough to realize. They're like, oh, we're just going to do it the same old romance, you know, triangle over and over, no matter the circumstances. And I'm glad that the show knows that circumstances, that's not what's going to happen. But it is going to be a little awkward.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, if it did happen, it'd be a very poor choice just because of what happened and how it caused them to be split apart. That'd be very, like, unwelcome compared to some types of love triangles where this was, like, a traumatic experience. They wouldn't just be like, oh, yeah, I still love her after, like, all these years. Even though I thought she was dead.
Nobody just brought up, like, the best summary of that little scene. She said, I love how when they mentioned Flynn and Nicole having sex, Flynn got embarrassed and Eve was just like, rolls eyes, it's okay, mate, relax.
Yeah, I love that reaction from her. That was my favorite.
She was not, like, jealous looking at all or, like, nervous. She was just like, you know what? I am comfortable in the fact that this man loves me and has, in fact, loved other people in the past. And I was just like, yes. Good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Like, that's a healthy relationship because, like, she acknowledged that, you know, he had past relationships and some of them fell through. And, of course, sex sometimes is involved. It all's in the past.
I love the difference between this and Fleaviardi. You know, I love that Eve is inherently different from Flynn, and I was scared they would have Eve acting like Flynn would, you know, being crazy, you know. And
Eve is much more self-assured than Flynn. Because Flynn still got his, like, old internal self-confidence issues from when he was, like, a nerdy little grad student.
And
you know, rear their head every once in a while, and, like, the idea of losing the woman he loves to a fictional villain is, like, too much.
Yeah.
Too much. I just randomly started shipping Darrington Bear and Nicole, just staring at that picture.
I was laughing about this because it's just such a funny throwback. I didn't even realize when I was watching it that was a remake, and I was looking at the entire flashback.
Oh my god, you didn't?
Up until that shot from the original movie, I think. I gotta double check, but, like, that's all. That's
no, it is
from
the original.
That's original. That's original.
They only needed to do a
moment she. And, like, you can see how much older he is.
Yeah.
But, like, they did a good job of kind of covering it up. Like, he does look weirdly. He looks like photoshopped if you pause on it. He's like airbrushed for sure. They did a good job, I think, because it was a short scene, and then they just kind of like, whoop. And people like us would know, but, like, is the average viewer really gonna know that much? You know, they're really gonna care that much. For sure. So I think they did a great job.
I mean,
also, this is really nice, and I'm screenshotting that later.
You know,
did you see the picture, the last one with Flynn and Nicole? It was the original picture of them.
I know. I thought that was interesting. Let me see if I can find it.
But it was photoshopped. Yeah, and I thought it was so funny
that with Rachel's face.
That Photoshop job was worse. I was like,
yeah.
It looks, oh my gosh, it looks like some awful face after. No, but her bot, I love when you can tell the match this.
I just saw, like, blonde hair tank top, and I was like, oh, it's Nicole.
Yeah, and it's the orange just Photoshop with a face on it.
The fact that they straight up were like, oh, so do you date all your guardians or only the blonde ones? And Flynn was like, leave me alone.
That was actually the best. I appreciate it.
He's like, it's so not my fault that the library picked two blondes.
It's his time.
Oh, can I talk about? I had a theory about that I'm going to talk about because
theory
for tethering ceremony thing. Yeah, it's related because I realized that a lot of the past librarian-guardian relationships that we know in canon were all romantic. Charlene and Judson, Flynn and Nicole, Flynn and Eve, Nicole and Edward Wilde before Flynn.
Oh.
And I'm wondering if the fact that someone needs to be tethered to the library at all times, if the library is purposely choosing people that it knows will be compatible enough to like either be romantically involved and be together forever, or at least platonically and like fully understand each other and be able to be together for a long time in order to be tethered to the library and be
That makes
loyal.
sense, and also
Like as like a self-defense mechanism, sort of, and also as a matchmaking service, according to City.
Yeah.
also consider the
Calculator.com, put in the names.
and the fact that he was romantically involved with both Cassandra and Jake, and she was basically like a mother to Ezekiel, which also would have meant that she had a capacity to be around him forever without really having much problem, you know? Like,
I forgot about that. That's really true.
Like, it's almost interesting that Eve Eve is the library's bicycle. Literally.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You know,
Oh,
Did you say that the
because
first time?
for one thing, she's bi. For another thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I think about that a lot now that we know that those alternate universes, you know, like are the same basically in their, you know, who they are as people. Like, you know, because like it seemed for a while like depending on what John Rogers would have done if he had stayed, like Cassandra only would have been completely gay in that universe based on something he said on Twitter. I don't know what he was planning, but they changed that to where she's seems to be the same in both. So like
yeah, which is nice.
that means Eve also has the capacity to be attracted to women in this universe, which makes it even more when she grabbed Nicole and Nicole smiled as she grabbed her against the bars. I was like, no, stop it. Just like that's Team Gadians, like yeah.
Jeez, Kira. Oh, you know,
Gadians.
Team Gadians.
you know what we should talk about? Where is it? Come on. Oh, come on. I hate this. I hate trying to control. Really, I did not know that. There we go.
Yeah.
These two dorks randomly singing, and then expecting Ezekiel to play along.
Like, no.
Talk about that
Amazing.
because
I mean, they have a band, so
they fully were expecting him to join in. Like they turned back and looked at him, and when they were like, "Ezekiel, why aren't you singing too?" It was I couldn't get over it.
And then later when he wants to leave instead of singing, but he has the best voice, and then I tweeted like Ezekiel would pretending that he's doesn't want to do the stuff that he's good at again, and then like multiple people from the show liked it, and I was like, thank you, because
I don't like
acknowledge.
Phil Jones.
that is one of my favorite things. It's like he's afraid. It's his face aid. He's afraid. Because we know, like, from what Dean has said, you know, that he remembers the point of salvation, and we see blatantly in season 3 and 4 how that changes. Because if you go back, you'll see right after that, when they were running away, he immediately gave the thing to Cassandra and was like, go, and like took the dude on and stuff. And then later in the second episode, he immediately runs the other way when he sees Cassandra in trouble because he knows that the floor is wet, but he doesn't really take the time to tell them because he knows. I think he did that because he knew that them falling down would distract the bad guys so he could run them over with that table. I think he literally planned that in an instant because that's what his mind is good at now. And you know, saw every out. He was like, bye. Like he did it so fast. It was really interesting to me. Like, and that's kind of like.
It's definitely just. I think it was a trauma reaction to Cassandra being in danger. That he just ran over there and did all the punchy stuff, which he says he never does.
Oh yeah, and he using the table was great. He was because he's a genius at using his environment.
That whole fight scene was incredible. Where is it? Found it. There he goes.
Yeah, like in an instant, and it's when she pulls and he's like triggered, and then
See, I'm
I feel
wondering
like
if he just did it and expected them to follow, or if that was a plan. If it was a plan, like, hell yeah, Ezekiel Jones.
I really think
on the comments section is Nicole did say the first film that she wasn't supposed to fall in love with the librarian, like it was a rule. Maybe they told her that because she was also in the dungeon.
That's a possibility.
or it could be retconned, who knows.
Sorry for interrupting you. I just happened to see. I'm like, I should probably mention that.
But yeah, I really
Yeah, but in the end, also, she did hook up with Edward Wilde.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't think it's an active guideline that anyone follows.
No.
No, it's probably just like there part of the rules everybody keeps blatantly ignoring.
This whole
That's the thing,
scene, I could
though.
just sit
Not
here and
saying
watch
no.
this forever. This whole fight scene.
It's so
And
good.
she's like, I'm gonna punch the door.
Okay, but you notice how when Ezekiel stopped fighting and running, he led them directly where they needed to go for the others to fight them, and like it was just interesting to me. I really feel like he just saw this whole situation in an instant, you know, and everything that might happen, especially because he knows their behavior patterns, especially so well by now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And he had
So,
the
you know,
thing is,
in the fight
Ezekiel's
point of
very
salvation.
smart.
Yeah, I was just gonna say point of salvation.
But
Like-
our boy wasn't affected. Can we talk about that?
Let's go back to the first instance, you know, like when he was at the slot machine, because the plot of this episode, especially for our friend here who didn't know, basically whenever this lady would blow a kiss on the screen, the goddess of luck, it would steal the luck of everybody who saw the kiss, right? And then they would be infested with bad luck, and kind of like implied they would also be infested with the compulsion to gamble or whatever, you know? And so Cassandra and Ezekiel both see it when Cassandra and Ezekiel both get sidetracked in the casino. Cassandra actually beats the bad luck. Like, they found out there is a way to beat the bad luck by going around it and, like, basically, you know, and that's what they do in that fight, which, you know, and Cassandra used her magic, basically. She used her magic and against the magic. And then Ezekiel, his obsession with
Cassandra didn't use her magic.
Was obviously, like, it seemed really point of salvation-esque, and especially based on how John and Dean and everyone responded to everybody's tweets about it. Like, they were confirming that the reason Ezekiel was obsessed with winning this game and beating it was because he can't handle not losing, like in the point of salvation, and especially since it's a video game, and so basically it's just a video game with money. And so he beats it, but I don't think he was ever affected because
Slot machines are rigged, but
yeah,
True, very true.
he just did it for himself. Like, I don't think he ever was affected because of, you know, the Ezekiel demigod theory that that John also basically he retweeted that big long list of all the examples. He was like, this period, and like that's a very direct response, especially with everything that's happened and how on the nose it is, and how on.
I think John also just really wants to be a demigod in this character because he's complaining about Ezekiel not having magic.
They said they were gonna give us what we want, and if they don't know that we want Ezekiel to be magical by now, they're obviously not paying attention. And I know they're paying attention, so I'm like,
I mean, Jake got some magic, Cassandra got some magic, then they're in a casino inflicted by people not having luck. And the only way Cassandra gets around it is by using her magic, and the way Ezekiel gets around it is by using his skills, which shouldn't be possible if all his luck ran out.
Yeah, like, and
no, if he had been unlucky, he wouldn't have been able to hack the machine. He would have.
No, exactly. The guard would have seen him. He would have.
She used magic. He can't just hack the machine affected by magic unless he is unaffected by that magic. And as we've seen, he is unaffected or only like positively affected mostly by magics that are of godly origin. Everything that isn't of godly origin screws him over. Like Prospero's narrative magic made him completely forget, just like everybody else, and he was affected like them. And then the fairy tale magic affected him like everybody else,
but not in the same way even.
But his clothes changed like everybody else. He acted different like everybody else. He followed all the narrative tropes like everybody else. But his narrative trope is the narrative trope that always gets away with it. So I think everyone points to that and they're like, oh, he wasn't affected. I don't think that's true. I think he was affected. He was just, you know, actually lucky that time because that's who he, you know. Actually, I think the thing about that episode was it was about people's hidden sides, and Ezekiel doesn't really have a hidden side, especially at that point in time, because he tries to be, you know, he tries to be himself. He tries to do what he wants to do. And now he has a face shade more than ever, but he didn't then. So I think, you know, because like Eve had her feminine, motherly, affectionate side. She was so much more of a soldier and so much, you know, more burly back then, and she became more and more affectionate and let her hair grow out and did her makeup more and wore prettier things, and you know, and wanted to be more romantic with Flynn, and she wanted to do more family like things to build the team ever since that, I think. And then, you know, same with Cassandra, she's been gayer ever since that episode. And more of a leader. She's been more of a leader as well. She's been more vocal, more confident.
Yes.
And so, but Ezekiel, he already was what the thing made him into, and everyone else's was very different, actually. But I think that's not because of him, of anything magical. I think that's just because of his personality, and he was trying to be true to himself as much as possible, especially then. So. But yeah, we think he's related to a demigod. And everybody,
I feel like everyone watching probably knows that.
Yeah, but it started as a crab theory, and now it's become such a big fandom theory, and there's so many different offshoots, and there's so much evidence, and it's so on the nose now.
Yeah.
And so we should probably talk about the most likely lineages, you know, the most likely scenarios. So
I don't think it's going to be patron saint of thieves anymore, as much as I liked the idea, solely because he's white. Unless he's related to his mom.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I feel like the best situation for him to be related to the patron saint of thieves, which would make a lot of sense narratively, is because in that episode, his mom is also there, and he seems, you know, and his mom is white. And we don't know why, but he could be because Ezekiel is mixed, the character.
She's Australian, though. I found, or Alex found the actress. Gia.
Yeah, but it doesn't. White people are in Australia, too. I don't.
No, but I mean, like, she's probably Australian, and then if they're going for mixed, then his dad's Korean.
Yeah, that could make sense. Like, he could pass as a mixed character, for sure. He could play a mixed character. That could make sense for sure. And I know that actually has already pissed off a few of the Asian people in the fandom, but I don't really think we have.
I haven't seen any of that.
I saw some stuff. They're like, apparently it's a trope for I don't know.
She really looks like him though. Like I feel like it was good casting.
I'm excited to see her because, you know, his relationship with her looks interesting. But she also might have stolen or adopted her. But if they're mixed, if he's mixed and she's his mother, his blood mother.
Yeah.
Then his grandfather could totally be the patron saint of thieves because his mother. His grandfather could be the patron saint of thieves. He could be the grandson because, you know, it doesn't have because, you know, like that weird another on the nose line was in that episode with the other Norse gods. People related to Norse gods, you know, the reunion of evil. The reunion of evil when they went to see the frost giants, who are related to the Norse godly avatars, like they're somewhat the same. Like there must be offshoots apparently of these type of people, and they wanted the crystal because it would only give people who were related to Norse gods power or like immortality or something like that, you know. And Jenkins said that line really specifically after Cassandra asked if it could make her immortal, you know. And it seemed like foreshadowing to me now that they have it around, like maybe something might happen to that. So if Ezekiel were related, if he were the grandson of the patron saint of thieves is Santa's brother, and Santa used to be Odin. That means the patron saint of thieves probably used to be Loki. So he is related to a Norse god if he is the grandson of the patron saint of thieves.
God of mischief. Amazing.
It's so good. I love this so much.
But I also still like the Greek stuff if we ever get that with like Hermes or Zeus. But patron saint of thieves and Loki is so cool.
Think about this.
Yeah.
There's no reason that the Norse god, because we know that they evolve and change over time into different.
They could be the same thing. You're right.
It could be the same thing. The Norse gods, aka Santa and the patrons, like they started as Norse gods, and now they're the patron saint of thieves and Santa, and they're kind of like these Euro, you know, Western avatars, these less than their gods, but they're still the same type of being. But in between that, they could have been the Greek, Egyptian, you know, they could have been related to those gods as well, since we've seen a lot of those gods, especially in interaction with Ezekiel. Like Ezekiel stared down Anubis, and Anubis was not one of the werewolves they were tricking with his scent thing. Anubis was capable of speech and was perfectly sentient, and looked at him, and I knew he was a librarian, but he still let him walk past. And I think about that every day.
I wonder if in this universe, like, the gods are capable of choosing whether or not to evolve to new subjects. I don't even know if that makes any sense. Like, you know, we still see ancient Egyptian and ancient Greek gods.
Yeah, that's
in other saints. So I'm wondering if, like, we have some gods that are stuck in their old past personas, and then there's some that are evolving with the times.
That seems to be the case, because as we have in this
episode, so
we have literally a Greek goddess,
she was stuck in the casino wandering, and she was, I feel like some gods have more power. I feel like the less the gods are believed in at a certain amount of time, like some of the Greek and Roman gods just totally died out and didn't get annexed into other religious, things. They didn't evolve as much, and now they've been declassified mythology, whereas other mythology just got updated and annexed into the, Euro-Christian religions and the Abrahamic religions that are more prominent today. So, paganism has kind of died out, and I feel like maybe the gods of those specific things have lost their power, or they've been cursed or attacked each other back and forth, and and then stuff like this happened where they got more magical power. Seeing how that affects a lot of these entities. It brought Apep back. It allowed this chick to come back. It allowed Anubis to come back. And maybe it's what gave the patron saint of thieves power to do what he's doing now.
Yeah, it's possible.
Because now he's trying to destroy Christmas, and he's like a Grinch character, and he's like, I'm going to mess with my brother's holiday and stuff, like family beef. And I'm really interested because it seems like it's going to be family beef between Santa and the patron saint of thieves. And the library gets smack in the middle of that. But not just the library because of their magic. The patron saint of thieves, for some reason, has Ezekiel's mom, or Ezekiel's mom goes to him. Like, they're together at some point. And that seems so weird that we finally get Ezekiel's family in the same episode that we're dealing with Santa's family. So it just seems very possible that Ezekiel is related to Santa, which would be so funny if we remember the first episode, because he would have been like, LOL. But he didn't say anything, and I feel like maybe Ezekiel might be mad about that. But I feel like maybe Jenkins knows, because there was also this scene. I literally just combed through the whole show the other day to make a compilation, and I might send that link in the chat. But this into this
message me, please. Okay,
I can do it.
Go to that other episode if you want the scenes in closer detail. But
can we go back to the episode?
The Curse of Cindy. Yeah, the Seal of Fortune. Oh my gosh, look at his janitor outfit.
No, because I want to
Purposely
talk
pulled it
about
up
Jake.
because like him in the maintenance outfit literally destroyed me. I don't know
Why
why.
is he not in a maintenance outfit?
Yeah, I don't know. It's ridiculous. Like, how dare he? But can we talk about, where is it? Hello. That wig is everything.
That wig
Where's
is
my
so
girl?
fake.
Her telepathy.
It literally reminds me of
That's the only time she's using her magic, actually. Like, the first part, she wasn't using her magic. She was just using math,
but isn't
probability, statistics.
since she did use her special like board to like figure it out per se, and you know, we don't really know how that works and how that affects the world around her in reality, because we found out it's not humor, it's somehow magical and she was using it. So that means her board and all of her things have always been magical somehow. And we don't know how yet. That's a very good thing. But I feel like maybe that means whenever she uses her board, she's using a little bit of magic without realizing it. Just like when they say, I'm the librarian, and they're using a spell, and Jake didn't even know it, he's mad. But
Well, of which more. So, yeah. So I think she's always, because it has probably something to do with the synesthesia, how she visualizes it. Because she's the only one who can see it, so. Yeah, and so it's just her using math. Because from what we know, the power that she has is like putting her thoughts into another person's mind, thought, whatever. Like,
speaking of
everybody
which,
goes for rate 17.
Lindy said that her power would grow, so yeah, that's all we've seen so far.
Oh.
But
Can't send weather in the chat. Whoops.
but like I remember maybe because we saw her move objects and stuff in the Loom of Fate, so and that might be where she's going, because they talked about how that's part of her future.
Possibly.
She might have other
Possibly,
telepathy.
yeah. Okay, but can we talk about Jake, please? And how he was like talking about not having friends and
yet here he is with Slayton.
I'm still
Yeah.
And I think
something.
and they were saying about Jake having this arc thing, like going to a whole new direction.
Yeah, this was big for Jake. Because this episode, they were talking about how much he wanted recognition, too. And this episode was him being like, okay, I get it now. This is not something that we can get recognition for. Like, he almost even gives it away. And he pulls back because he knows that he can't.
Okay, but why?
I think it's something that's still going to frustrate him for a while, because that's not something you get over, like, immediately.
No,
but
definitely.
He's, like, accepted it in this episode. Because he got to save his friend. But he can't tell his friend, and he knows that. So he feels like it's worth it, because he knows he can help people.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that if he does fall in love with the character,
I still think it's a witch.
He's probably going to try and tell them.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think that might be what happens.
No, but Lee's like, what if Slayton is an ex? Oh, we've thought about that. Yeah, they seemed real close.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, you know what he did that I was laughing about? When he fell and he was holding him. Where is it? He did the same face thing he did with Ezekiel in Fangs of Death. See?
And the fact that Slayton
hands on either
Jake
side of
is
the face.
clever.
I love it. They dated. They dated. Let's
listen. Slayton knew. He told Slayton about his smartness, so you know.
Oh my god, his legs between his legs. I'm just now noticing that.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah, and so this is right after an episode where Flynn's ex comes back. So take that correlation as you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
exactly.
But also they were talking about how another thing that's funny about this is how right before this they're talking about how they can't have relationships with people outside the library, you know, because it causes confusion and chaos and stuff. And Flint's like, doesn't count if they're in the library, though. And I feel like that's actually not true. I feel like it doesn't count if they're in the library or if they're already in the supernatural world at all. You know what I mean? Like that, and it was interesting how Ezekiel asked about relationships specifically. Like, so Ezekiel call out, he was totally thinking about Cindy. He was like, I got something going on. Like, what do you mean? But it's funny how right after Flynn explained that, Jake was like, I'm taking Ezekiel and I'm going to go.
Yeah, that was so weird.
So, yeah.
Where is it then? I gotta find the hat.
Oh yeah.
I'm taking Ezekiel, and Ezekiel's like, I'm putting on my hat. Let's go.
Where
Save
did
a
you
port.
even get that hat? Oh my god, Ezekiel Jones.
Oh god, don't even. You made me think about something I read on Tumblr. Did everyone see that post about the possibilities of why Jake was upset with Ezekiel wearing that hat?
Why?
Some of them are not family friendly.
From Jake.
Oh God.
Okay. Oh my god.
Can you post
Okay.
a
Some
I
were
link?
guess
cute.
you
Like,
have a
yeah, he
few
just
things.
steals that hat from Jake a lot, and Jake doesn't like it. Or that they're in a relationship right now, and Jake can't handle seeing Ezekiel in his clothes.
Oh.
And then it got really progressively dirtier.
I feel like this.
I went straight to the deep end.
I feel like this is even a
Like,
hat.
you know, Jake and the hat.
I feel like this hat is specifically the kind of hat that he hates. I feel like maybe they were like pillow talk at one point, and Jake was like, I only like this specific type of cowboy hat. All the rest look awful. And Ezekiel wouldn't let it go. He thought it was so funny that he was so particular about cowboy hats, so he gets the one he hates, and he's like, I'm ready to go. Just to mess with him. Just like how Ezekiel just loves to mess with him at the end of the clown episode when he was like, maybe it was the wand or whatever. Like, he just loves to push his buttons, and it's great.
Where does he even pull that from? Just from under the table? Like, hello.
Yeah, he's like, I will say
Yeah.
Why did he do the dumb little Ezekiel twirling thing gives me life.
The Jake twirl that
I
Ezekiel
love that
stole,
even the fact
and
the back is like
specifically
what
does
are you
around
doing?
Ezekiel. I mean, around Jake. Like, he does it around Jake the most. That's what messes me up. Like, he does the twirl around Jake, and he has ever since the point of salvation.
Yeah, because he did it with the wrench. It was just like a thing.
And then he does it with little hand tools, and does it with his hat, and I think he did it with a book. I don't know. I was looking through for some stuff, but he twirls stuff a lot now, basically. I don't know if that's like maybe like the rest of it for the rest of the season isn't even on purpose, and it's just the way like John picked it up from Christian. We don't know. We don't know if it's planned or not. I feel like it might be planned though, because it always happens in specific moments. Back to the
I think
fight
it's
scene.
them just trying to be fancy, honestly.
This episode was just so good, though.
Silly.
Okay, but the way he said when they were like, "Why isn't it affecting you?" and he was like, "I guess I have to when I hack the machine." Like that was the worst excuse he's ever given. Like,
Oh my God.
it's always the same BS.
It's breakfast.
Can we talk about how great this guest star was and how great it
Oh
was?
Oh my god.
I actually
Oh my
wanted to
God,
bring
yes,
something up
Richard
specifically
Pryor.
about him and Fortuna, but I was trying to find the right frame. There we go. So, like, and then we see clearly that he's got a bruise under his eye. So, like, someone talked about it on Twitter, and I still can't get over it. How they, like, completely turned this whole trope on its head, presenting... I can't remember his name for the life of me, the character's name. I feel
Benny.
Benny, thank you. But immediately,
I would die for Benny.
Fortuna as like the usual stereotypical casino owner with like his arm candy that's really dumb. And they flip it entirely on its head in this episode and have him be someone who is much weaker and her be the controlling one. But then they also made it meta because they were purposely using that image to hide Fortuna in plain sight. And like this was a whole like thing that acknowledged those tropes and also flipped the tropes on the head and also showed a male victim of abuse in like a proper light. So just like
all of that in 45 minutes.
Like messes me up.
I appreciated it so much.
Cassandra's like, I'm gonna kill this bitch.
Jake too.
Everyone got upset. They were like,
Cassandra hates her so much. Oh my god.
only Ezekiel is like, well, but that's because like, you know, she's a goddess. And
Ezekiel's
it's like a
stealing
whole.
in the background right now. He doesn't give a shit.
Like inspecting the merchandise. Be right back.
We don't want your money. We don't.
I'm trying to find it. Oh wait, no, it's back here. I'm just on a. There it is. He's just inspecting things while talking. I love that. Where's we don't want your money? We don't. Did I skip it again?
Okay, but I love that shirt on Eve.
Yes. Yes.
It's so good.
Which shirt? Wait, hold on. Oh, of course. There it is. Beauty and Grace.
We just keep being reminded
I
that
can't see
Rebecca is a model.
Yeah, we think.
Just,
Have you seen
I
the
love
hand cup bra? Because I found that clip the other day and I lost my mind.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Yes.
It's actually it's
so
not. It
old.
literally came out right before the show. It's from like 2014.
Yeah, it's 4 years old.
That's
Exactly.
not a long time to me. Okay. That was like
It is.
yesterday to me. That was literally
That's like-
yesterday.
Okay.
I can remember like it was yesterday, except I can't remember it at all.
Literally 4 years of your life.
Yeah, and it went by in a blur, and I have no recognition of time passing. Trust me, like
God, this show came out 4 years ago.
I almost missed Let's Take Over Portland. I
I'm
was like, oh no, it's summer. I better go.
We're close to an hour, so if you guys want to just talk about tomorrow more than we already have, like just what we are expecting in store. Like we know we're getting Christmas Thief and Silver Screen. And we know that Christmas Thief is going to be about Ezekiel and his mom stealing the back door, and apparently the back door breaks, and they have to call Jenkins to help, all while Jenkins and Flynn are on vacation with Santa.
Did you guys realize that Flynn was doing the swim at the back?
Yeah.
I totally.
Like, well, Jenkins was on the phone. He was doing the swim in front of Eve, and Eve was just like rolling her eyes. Like,
That's
yeah,
the best
okay.
Poor Eve, long-suffering Eve.
And then
I
So-
can't believe that they went to a rave.
scene is going to be like literally an Evelyn movie date gone wrong, where they get trapped in Eve's favorite
Yes.
film noir movie.
I feel like what's gonna happen is that the vacation Eve is not happy with. So Flynn's like, let's do an actual date vacation that you'll actually like in the next
That may-
episode. And then it goes wrong.
Probably.
But
yeah.
it looks like they get trying.
Could
Arlets
be.
also get trapped in movies, specifically Cowboy and Aliens, which I'm gonna scream about.
Oh
for the rest of
yeah.
I'm so excited.
Oh my god, I can't believe they put them in Cowboys and Aliens.
Oh my goodness. I'm just really excited about Christmas Thief.
I
Are we-
I cry at every single Christmas episode. I still cry when I watch Santa's Midnight Ride.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and like I feel like they know they have to emotionally compete with that episode. Like they're like, I don't know how we're gonna top the emotional end of that
It's like-
episode, so I guess we better give what they've been waiting for.
Of like Eve giving hope out to everyone in the world at the same time and watching.
Oh, that made me cry every time.
So like they're gonna make us all cry now by showing like Ezekiel kissing his mom on the freaking forehead. Oh.
Okay, but his mom looks so mean. I'm
In
confused.
some of the shots, yeah, but in the shots like that, she looks like so nice and loving, and I don't.
No, she doesn't. She still looks annoyed. To me, she looks uncertain, kind of. I feel like maybe she's just in shock in that picture. Like maybe he got her a nice house and a bunch of Christmas stuff, and she's just in shock. Maybe that's why her expression is weird to me. That's what I'm hoping for.
I know I'm like so confused about what the relationship's gonna be because we see her laughing at him in the promos, and like in that one promo where he's like, "This is the library," and she's like looking up ahead. She's got like a sneer. It looks.
And then like he's like, I don't have any ties to anyone in the real world, and then he's suddenly showing his mom the library. Like what?
Yeah, where'd that come from?
I feel like it must have been the point of salvation. Like he must have changed his priorities somehow, and he decided that he wanted a relationship with her. I don't understand how else that could have happened. Or maybe she decided she wanted a relationship with him and he was actually open to it because of the point of salvation. He was like, oh, well, I've already died enough. I guess I can be friends with my mom.
It could be an example of Ezekiel, once again, hiding the truth and not particularly lying, because his exact words were, I don't have any ties to anyone in the real world. But we've already know that his mom is a career criminal. That's not the real world.
Yeah, maybe that's what he was talking about. Maybe he's only ever known people in this criminal underground.
Or in a world of magic.
I guess, yeah. Maybe that's... And then maybe he was just using it to be like...
Roundabout saying, I don't know any normal people.
Maybe.
He didn't want to tell them that he, like, still has a mother and, like, this whole, like, thief family or whatever.
But also, that episode dealt with his social media usage and that he likes to use social media a lot and to appear awesome online to a bunch of people he doesn't know. And, you know, I felt like maybe that was, and it was about, like, image. So I feel like maybe it was a world, it was in the image of image. It was about, you know, he doesn't, like, actually have any connections to any of those people, you know?
Yeah. They're just people that
Okay, but here's the thing. Yep. Eve would have known. She read his FBI file.
Yeah, she must know. I think about that a lot. She knows more about him than most, but, like, she keeps it... But she still doesn't know. She obviously still doesn't know a lot because it can't all be in there.
I was gonna say if he was stolen, it wouldn't be in there, and he's not like blood related to her.
And if they were off the grid, people off the grid that never actually registered with anything or lived in any sort of capacity like that, then that might not be on record and stuff. And I know people like that. I literally know people that there are no record of. I know people that live in the woods that just you won't find any record of them. You won't.
That's really freaky. Okay.
Oh no, they're nice. They're just, you know, they're my family.
They're nice.
Like, that's why I relate to Ezekiel, because I'm like, yeah, bitch, me too. I know some people that live in junkyards in the middle of the Rocky Mountains. That's my family. Yeah, that's why I'm excited for this episode, because I'm like, I saw in one of the BTS episodes, it looked like he was walking through a lawn that looked like all like a ramshackle, you know, kind of shit it looked familiar to me. I was like, yeah, that's where I live. It's just more broken cars. Like, if he had more broken cars in his yard, that's yep. Hometowns, you know. So I'm really excited to see where he grew up, especially. But I can't, if that picture where he's kissing his mom in the forehead, I can't tell if that's in the same place as where he grew up. I don't think it is. It looks nice. They had a deck.
Yeah, it looked different.
No. I don't think it looks too nice.
That's why I think he got her a nice house or something like that. Which is something that would fuck me up, because that's like my dream, is to get my mom,
Can we talk about
most of her life, a nice house.
Can we talk about stealing was an art and I'm an artist?
Yeah, and then he goes dancing through the lasers, and I'm like,
oh my god. Like, that's some crazy insight to his character right there. I can't wait for this fucking... Oh my god.
We're gonna die. This is...
We've been waiting.
Yeah, next week's episode, you're gonna see us talk solely about Ezekiel Jones. That's gonna be it.
Yeah,
probably. Like, yeah.
The silver screen. What? You can't even make.
Did you guys see the preview? Did you guys see the preview, like the clip, the sneak peek? It broke the fourth wall.
What?
Yeah, the silver screen.
Yeah.
Then the silver screen. I was so happy at that.
Wait, which from?
Because we have.
There was a sneak peek for the silver screen.
Yeah, which sneak
peek? Yeah, where Eve and Flynn are in the office.
Oh, that one. Yeah, that's nice.
And Flynn is freaking out about his Fanta again.
Yep.
You know, it's actually really cool. So I love that scene, because she was like, I know this office. I've seen this how many times. And like, she could find everything because she knew where it was. And that's so funny, because that's how we would be if like we got sucked into Librarians. We were like, well, we at least
Yeah, that's very true. We
Yep.
know everything.
We know what's going on. We could find the cornerstones. Like we could do it.
All right.
I would actually be. I would not be a. I would never. I could never be a librarian. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I would be a librarian if I could in that universe. I'm smart. And I'm like, no, I'm the dumbest person on the planet.
I'd be
But
so
I could be a good
Oh my god.
I fully acknowledge that I would be a
Same.
guardian at the most.
Honestly,
I would be a caretaker because
I can't even be a guardian. I'm too clumsy.
I'd be like Jenkins. I'd just be salty on home base. I'd be salty on Maine. I'd be like, I'd be the person in the mirror, because like I'm not
Same.
going out. I wouldn't be. I want to, but I wouldn't be able to, So.
Randomly, accidentally walks into the annex and be like, fuck.
I feel like I want that to happen. I feel like I want some poor to like someone like my friend Coben who breaks into things for fun. Like I feel like I want some weird Portland homeless dude to just break into the annex and be like, oh.
My mistake.
nice.
Do you remember when Coben climbed it?
Yeah.
John, and John was like, wow.
Now we're talking about Let's Take Over Portland. For anyone who does not know, Kira's friend climbed on top of the part of St. John's Bridge.
For fun.
It was insane.
I taught him that too. I used to climb up the cliff by my house shirtless on dares and stuff. That's when I could.
You're something else. Okay.
I'm sad. I miss that. But yeah, like next episode both of them seem so cool. I'm so excited for the movie episode. The Cowboys. Who's excited for the Cowboys? Like, come on.
I'm excited for the aliens. I'm gonna be real.
I'm
Yeah,
excited
that's
for
true.
the aliens,
It looks-
honestly. No, honestly, the aliens.
It looks so good.
It looks like such an old movie.
I'm excited for Ezekiel's
The
reaction on
helmets
the
and everything.
aliens.
It's gonna be great.
I think he'd be really mad because he'd be like, really? This is how we meet aliens? It's not even real. I'm mad.
Oh,
Because like Jenkins is like, no, they're not real. I always want Jenkins. I want Jenkins to get proved wrong on that more than ever. Because now I'm like genuinely kind of mad at him forever. Like I'm always gonna be a little pissed off at Jenkins. I'm always gonna think he's a. Don't even get me started. I'm pissed off.
all right.
I'm mad at
the
Jenkins.
annex, I mean,
I think
who you have in the library.
an hour and 7 minutes.
Yep.
Unless anyone has anything they really want to say.
I want to acknowledge the savage priest from the first episode.
Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Yeah.
Forgot to do that.
They were amazing.
You're about to meet him.
You're going to meet God. This Order of Shadows is something else.
I really love them, and I love how on the nose shade it is at the real world and the religious organizations that do try to control everyone and stuff. I think that's so funny. They're not even pulling their punches. Like this is a real organization that would really do this. Probably like this would happen. This is real.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I like how the entire season, the big bad villain is actually the library, and not the Order or anybody else. That'll be fun.
Oh man.
This whole season is
That's gonna be,
different.
Can I just put forward a really out there theory
it's
real
gonna be
quick?
heartbreaking.
For the end of the season. Okay, so they were talking about how, because the best part of this first season was how we get more lore in the actual timeline of the Librarians, which is actually a fascinating timeline that's more interesting than most franchise series. Anyway, so the fact that the Library of Alexandria was made incorporeal, the old magic library was made incorporeal, and now it can't be corporeal because it would destroy itself. That's so interesting to me because, and Dean said the cornerstones would come back for the finale on Twitter. He was like, they'll be back.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe, and literally, you might remember, guys, back in the old days when we were first started talking, I always used to be like, I feel like maybe there's gonna be like a new age, like the library's gonna rise and become public, like Cassandra become like an above ground physical entity, and I feel like maybe that might be happening. Like they something might happen to make the library come back without imploding. And so the library invited multiple people at exactly this time for a reason, obviously, and maybe that reason was because one or more of them, or maybe that much of them, what being tied to the library means that it would be able to become corporeal again, because maybe even Flynn aren't going to be the only ones to tether to the library, or they might not be the ones to tether at all. So that's really interesting. We don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the library might
I
become
have a
corporeal.
crazy theory.
Go for it.
I have a crazy theory. The librarians become the cornerstones.
What?
Oh,
They're gonna become the cornerstones.
Oh,
Would they
they're
all
the
have a
ones, like,
portal?
the muses.
yeah. They
And
all,
the muses. Okay, they were talking about the muses and and all the elements, and
yeah, the 3 muses.
Wait, do they relate to each? Well, they relate to 3 of the muses. So who would be the 4th?
Flynn?
Yeah,
Flynn,
Flynn.
Eve, or Jenkins?
Flynn.
Okay,
He's a librarian, so Flynn.
Wait, okay, so we have it's thought, memory. What were the other 2?
no. What if? Okay,
Music
one-
and
Shit.
thought, memory, music, and water.
Uh,
So now I'm really thinking about this. Thought would be Flynn. Memory could easily be Ezekiel, especially because
Ezekiel.
of the lightning
salvation.
connotation with the muse of thought or the muse of memory.
Oh wow, yeah. Holy crap.
This is the greatest theory.
Water for
So,
Cassandra,
yeah.
music for Jake.
Jake, music, because it was gonna sing this season.
And then music, I can't really think of a justifiable explanation for.
Okay, but
It's gonna sing this season?
in one of the promos, Jenkins said the 4 of you are the only things tying the library to this or whatever. So at some point, he says the 4 of you, as if 4 people are going to end up tethering to the library. And that's really interesting because maybe, how we're also implying that Flynn doesn't want her. That means he, become Judson. Parts of him wants to become Judson. He's trying to embrace it. He's trying to change, but he's still a free spirit. I don't think he wants to be caged in and tied down, especially after what's happened with Nicole. I don't think Flynn is going to get tied to it. And I think that maybe Eve, as the guardian, she was always supposed to be the real guardian to the Lits from the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Eve and her 3, what if they're the ones that end up getting tied to the library
Exactly.
instead? That might be really interesting. And because Eve's like the grounding, she's always been the grounding force. She's the guardian, and I feel like she needs to be one of the ones tethered.
Yeah.
Charlene was the last one tethered, and the stuff, whatever Charlene said to Eve after that is obviously involved with this storyline, I think, with the tethering.
What if
You know what she said.
What if the reason that Darrington's all like there can only be one librarian is because because they have the multiple librarians, they can tether it or do the cornerstone thing and possibly bring it corporeal, which is something that the old librarians don't want to happen because they think it's bad. Same reason Jenkins doesn't. The whole ideology that the magic in the world is bad, they don't want that to happen.
What if there really can be only one librarian and Flynn really will be the only librarian because the other 3 librarians were always supposed to become the cornerstones? And if anything, they're more important than Flynn.
I'm so shook right now. I can't.
Because if you think about it, we've always talked about how it's interesting that in a lot of ways, Jake and Ezekiel and even Cassandra often act more like guardians at times than a normal librarian would. They're more sacrificing. They're more on equal ground with Eve and each other when it comes to the responsibilities that the entire library needs. And so it would be really interesting if they became the 4 core. I'm loving this theory. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy.
So good.
This is a good, I'm going to be depressed when this isn't true because it's better. That's why I hate theories.
I'm sorry.
Okay, but let's run with it though. So the muses, I definitely think Ezekiel is memory because hello.
Yeah.
And that makes me wonder, isn't the Echoes of Memory the one where Eve goes to team up with Nicole to get her help? So that's probably another installment of this storyline, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
That's interesting.
Okay, we should end this.
But yeah, we do need to wrap
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
We got sidetracked by this amazing theory. Like we just wanted to talk
that
a little
was
bit, then we
good
were like,
way to end. I'm happy about this. So thank you to everyone who joined us and was saying awesome things in the chat, and a couple of new people that we had. And don't forget to watch. What is it? It's going to be And the Christmas Thief and the Silver Screen on Wednesday at 8 p.m. next week, and live tweet with hashtag the Librarians and TNT Drama so they can see that everyone likes the show. And actually, I'm going to try to tweet at the advertisers while the episode's airing as well. So, if anyone else feels like doing that, just keep an eye on what companies are the commercials and thank them for supporting the Librarians, because we're trying to do what we can to help keep the show afloat. That's it. Anyone else have anything?
Thank you.
See you next week.
Bye, guys.
Next week.